Look at that problems and things like that there.
And thank you for joining me once again on Autism Live Chat UK. We've got another show coming up for you today about ATUs and autism. And I'm joined by my next guest who's going to be sharing her story with me on the show tonight. Her name's Mandy and she has a daughter named Lorna. So very good evening to you, Mandy. Thank you for joining me on tonight's show. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your daughter?
Lorna's my youngest daughter. She's 24 years of age. Right, very creative young lady. And a very beautiful young lady, might I add.
Could you just come a little bit close to the mic, because we can hardly hear you. Could you say that again, please, Mandy?
My daughter Lorna, she's 24 years of age.
Yeah.
And she's a very beautiful young lady and very creative.
Right, so tell me what's been happening.
Well, Lorna was admitted to an ATU unit last October. She actually went there involuntary because she had a meltdown. And she was there for 3 weeks and then decided to come home. She came home and said that, you know, things will probably be all right now. Obviously she felt okay at the time, she thought. Anyway, she came home and then she had another one the day after, and she was quite anxious at the time, and she fell out with her father, and then he called the police. So obviously the police came and then took her back to this ward where she'd been in previous years, since she was 17, in and out since she was 17. And then they decided, which we still don't understand to this day, within then 5 days was put under reception.
So she went an involuntary on herself. She went
Yes.
along involuntary. So just explain that process if people don't know, if they're watching the show now, they probably don't know what that means. Just explain to the viewers what that means.
Involuntary means that you can go into an AT unit for up to 4 weeks, involuntary, without any claims. It's a bit like a hostel, if you will, sort of scenario, where they assess you in that time to see where you're at and how you're feeling, what you move, various other things. And at that point, she was fine. Then she came home, I came to pick her up. I picked her up. She was just anxious. She just had an anxious moment where she literally had a meltdown, and she said she wanted to come back home. So she did come back home, and then she had a falling out with her father. Because obviously at that time we didn't understand what was going on as much as how to deal with that. And she and her father had a falling out there. So then he called the police for her own sake at that time, which he thought was the right thing to do. But unfortunately, we took her back to the ward and then give her a further assessment. But clearly, she was fine when she was there. So we still don't understand why within them 5 days that we put under a section. Even her advocate stated that there was no need to put her under a section.
So so how long has she been in this unit now?
12 months.
12 months. And obviously you've given permission tonight, and also your daughter's given permission to share your daughter's story. And we have Lorna sitting next to you now, don't we? Good evening to you, Lorna. I know can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
And how are you at the moment, Lorna?
I'm not too bad.
So what have you been up to today?
I've been out with my support worker today.
Okay, so what sort of things have you been doing?
We've been looking round, seeing what's on, like in the village and what's on around us in the community.
Right, so as we can actually see, Lorna's very articulate. She's communicating with me now. She's talking, which is great. So, as a mother, Mandy, just explain to the viewers what else has been going on in this unit.
Well, she was put into a unit in Burnley, where she's been there 3 or 4 times now. We're still, in their eyes, still no clear indication what was going on. She was diagnosed by a private sector 2 years ago, in 2017, as autistic, and she was also diagnosed a year later with the same symptoms of autism. So then they changed their ideas with another psychiatrist who said she was had psychosis. So they said that she had psychosis. Have you not seen the letters? Dr.
So you're breaking up a little bit there, Mandy. Just say that little bit again for me, please.
The fact that the initial psychiatrist that we actually paid private for diagnosed her with autism initially, and then a year later did the same thing. Now, she was let down by many of her care coordinators in between these stages, and then she was admitted again under a Section 3 under another psychiatrist who said, forget about what he said, I'm treating her for psychosis. Well, so she hasn't got psychosis, she's had a meltdown and she's basically not been able to cope with her anxiety issues. So that's when the trail of destruction set upon him, where he gave her 7 separate antipsychotic drugs and various diagnoses.
Terrible.
So you can tell him. One of the medications, now Lorna's going to tell you about what happened to her under this particular medication.
Okay.
Right, I was rolling off tables and slipped it and hitting my head right on the floor. And I did that for about a good few weeks, and maybe I can't remember how long I did it for, but it was terrible. That I felt like there was no way out.
So this medication, you're on this medication. What I can't get at, and which I can't get my head around, and you probably, your daughter or yourself would explain this. Your daughter's had a diagnosis of autism, okay? So she's had a diagnosis of autism. Why are they going around and round in circles and re-diagnosing her? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all, and this is what's so frustrating. It got to, when this was happening with these drugs that were given her, with these bruises that she had, which you've seen, I decided to protest and say, look, I'm not leaving this ward while my daughter's in this situation. I said, I'm not leaving this ward, and he said, you're going to have to leave, otherwise I'm going to have to call the police to get you out. So, well, that's what you're going to have to do then, I says, because I'm not leaving here until my daughter's sorted out. Look at her, she's full of bruises. They also gave her 2 CAT scans and an EEG to make sure she'd done no external damage of her body at that time. I was furious. I'm not joking you. I was beside myself. I needed to ring the A-team. That's how bad it got for me. I wanted to get a tank and drive it through the building because I was powerless as a mother. I know, but this is it. I'm powerless as a mother to be able to do something. So they took me off the ward and barred me from seeing her for 4 months.
So they barred you from seeing your daughter for 4 months?
The ward manager barred me for 4 months for seeing her because I protested with the way she looked.
So, let me just get this right. So the ward manager barred you from seeing your daughter because you protested because of?
A bruising that she had on her body.
So basically you're sticking up for your daughter, and
of course, yes.
You're mentioning about the bruising she's had, and the ward manager bars you.
Yes, he barred me from seeing her for 4 months. My husband could go and see her, but she didn't go off very often to go and see her because he couldn't cope with seeing her like that. And a friend of mine who's been helping me at Manchester, she used to go and see her and stand in the room at the back so I could go outside in disguise through the mesh window to talk to her. So I had umbrellas, I had to put wigs on, or put glasses on so they wouldn't see who I was, stand outside the window to talk to her. It was horrendous. I thought to myself, I felt like Inspector Clouseau. I thought, what is going on? Why can't I see my daughter? She had bruising. I couldn't help her. I couldn't nurture her or anything like that. Can you imagine how that must have been at that time? It was just horrendous. I lost weight. I didn't eat. I sent various emails to the gentleman that used to stay to that Matt Hancock. I spoke to my local. She was the mayor of the Ribble Valley, and she wrote a letter to him as well. Still no reply. I'm thinking, who can I turn to help me?
Well, Mandy, you know, I can't actually say, you know, it'd be wrong for me to say, but I can't actually say to you how you were feeling and what you were feeling, because I don't know. I'm not a parent, you know, I'm not a parent, so I don't know what you've been going through. But what you're telling me now sounds absolutely horrific, and you know, sorry.
I was very close to myself. I didn't know what I could do. I cried every night. My daughter cried every night. We tried to talk to each other and such things, and then I managed to get her a phone, smuggle her phone in to get her a phone so we could communicate. I just thought, what country am I in? Do you know what I mean? It was just diabolical.
So this all boils down to then really because Lorna went involuntary. She went involuntary, then it just escalated until she get a section 2 or a section 3?
A section 3.
So what was the reason behind the section 3?
This is what we can't understand. The advocate stated in the note, stating why was she under a section in the first place. What we call it, the solicitor even, I showed him the letter that was given to me, to Lorna in private, from when she was diagnosed from this private psychiatrist. And he actually sent that letter to the wrong doctor. My doctor had no knowledge that my Lorna was in hospital for that length of time.
Lorna, yeah, I just want to get a few words with Lorna and we'll come back to you, Mandy. Lorna, if the government, any of the government officials are listening to this interview now, what would you say to them?
What would you say to them? To these government people, what would you say to them?
I don't know that.
People who can change.
To be honest, I don't know.
I just want it to make it right. It's not just Lorna in this situation, there's hundreds and hundreds of people in the same boat.
Yeah, I think it's estimated that there's 2,600 inpatients at the moment in ATUs across the country. However,
at the time I pleaded with Dr. That she was under Dr. Bob Manuel, that she needed a brain scan. Now you can detect autism through a brain scan. I've done extensive research for around the world, and that's all you actually need. Now it costs £13,000 for a patient to be on these wards weekly, so it's costing the country millions. It only costs £800 for a brain scan to detect it. The majority of these patients on these wards, in my eyes, have some form of autism, and they're treating for psychosis, which is very similar. Now, I don't know if you've heard about the left eye, right brain syndrome with the armour ganglia, and the hippocampus is where there's a differentiation between the neural circuits within the brain. Now, I only know this information because I do some blogs for a neural magazine in America that has offered me to write for them, because obviously it's been going on.
Oh, sorry, Mandy, can you just come a little bit closer to the mic because we can't hear you? Can you just repeat what you've just said again? Sorry.
The thing being is that you can detect autism through a brain scan. I've done extensive research around the world, and the thing being, it costs £13,000 a week to have an individual on these wards, and it is barbaric as it seems, because obviously you've got all these carers, people to look after them. It only costs £800 for a brain scan, and I was prepared to pay for that, and he wouldn't even let me take her out, or even him to take her to a hospital to have this brain scan done. Now, 2 years ago, she was supposed to do a brain scan, but because of her anxious issues, she couldn't go through with it. So instead of doing 40 minutes, she only managed to do 8. So since that time, it's been barbaric ever since. The thing being with the brain scan, you can detect it in the neural circuits within the armour ganglia and the hippocampus of the brain. Now, they don't work in unison like they should because of the autism, okay? So you can detect it through a neural imaging on an fMRI scan.
Yeah, I know there was some news recently. I think the BBC recently released some news. I think it was about 6-12 months ago, saying that they are, in the near future, going to start detecting autism through different scans. It's not. I don't think it's in stone yet. However, it doesn't take, one or two professionals just to do a diagnostic assessment on somebody who's got an autistic spectrum. Now, saying that, your daughter's been diagnosed with autism. Secondly, she doesn't need another diagnosis, so she doesn't need another diagnosis. If she's got that official diagnosis, she doesn't need another diagnosis. So, at the end of the day, your daughter's got autism. What I'm seeing from outside the box, I'm seeing a lot of people with autism being thrown into these ATU units, being thrown into seclusion, not because they've got a mental health condition, it's all because of their autism.
Yes, they don't. Nobody understands it. The psychiatrists only work off an illness, not conditions. And this is why it's been passed on and passed on. It's 3 separate psychiatrists with 3 separate diagnoses and with 3 different antipsychotic drugs.
So at the moment, Lorna is out of hospital, isn't she?
She is, yes. She's been out 4 weeks now. She's still on antipsychotic drugs as we speak, which aren't very good for the brain cells. She's also on lithium. And when she left the ward 4 weeks ago, asked me this question. All them patients that's on their ward are all on the same medication. They're all on lithium and a pettition injection. So clearly it's not all have the same problems in my eyes, if they're all individuals. So possibility is they probably all have autism spectrum disorder.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, lithium is a very, very powerful drug. And lithium's only normally prescribed to people who've got severe bipolar or severe mental illness. So why are they prescribing a lithium?
You tell me, because I've said so many things to so many doctors. She's on 1,000 milligram a day. She's sick most evenings with it. She's the petition injection every week and has just changed it to every fortnight, which is 400 milligram. She can't even get out of the bed. She didn't get out of the bed till midday today. 1 o'clock it was when she came out, and now she's tired again. I mean, come on, why are they drugging her for what, no understanding? This is what's so frustrating. What I want to do is get a passport, take her to America, and never come back.
Yes, I know that some people, like, we've heard recently on my show, we've had Bethany's father, Jeremy, and with rounds to with Bethany, she has got autism, she's got PDA, and it's because of their lack of understanding, maybe a lack of training,
Yes.
lack of awareness, lack of education. Staff maybe there who are probably not trained, and when they see Bethany being challenging or upset or a meltdown, then they restrain her. There's a new law which come out now, I don't know if you know about it, it's called Senis law, which is SENIS, and that law means that now nobody can be restrained in hospitals. So there's a new law now, nobody can be restrained at all. So what I can't understand...
That's the restraint law not too long ago when she had a CAT scan. And I said, if you were quite happy to give her a CAT scan, why can't you give her a brain scan? And he said, there's no need to give her a brain scan because she hasn't got autism. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, you're a psychiatrist that works off illnesses, not an autism specialist.
So, what's happening now, Mandy? What's the current situation at the moment?
She's still on 1,000 milligram of lithium. He went to see this psychiatrist yesterday with a care coordinator, and he said it's a schizoaffective disorder. That's what he said. He agreed with the last psychiatrist. I said, what about the psychiatrist before and your initial diagnosis that you gave her 2 years ago? What about that? Well, he said she could have that as well. He said, but at the moment, this is what we're treating her for. So hang on a minute, it's either that or it's the other. The other thing as well is, he said, well, maybe we need to get her assessed by the ASD team. I said, she's already been assessed by you 2 years ago. Why are you changing your story? So the thing was with that, she is under the assessment team yet again, which took the last psychiatrist 3 months to put her forward for it, because he wouldn't want to listen to what the other psychiatrist had said. So there's no collaboration there at all.
So they are assessing her for what conditions now?
Autism again, ASD.
So they're not assessing her for any other conditions. It's just autism.
Yes.
So have they said how long she's got to be on these drugs, or how long is this?
Well,
They might lift it in a year or so.
they might lift it within a year or so. The fact being, it might do. She's on a CTO at the moment, which is care treatment order. Community treatment order, where if she doesn't take it, they take her back. Although over my dead body, they're going to be doing that.
So just tell the viewers who are watching now, what does this treatment order entail?
The treatment order states that if you don't take your medication, we'll fetch you back into hospital and we'll put you back under your section. The other thing is with it, they make sure that she's having these drugs through a blood test.
So they're going to monitor how many drugs she's taking a day, and does your daughter have PDA now?
Either PDA or ADD.
Does she have PDA?
I'm not sure whether it's PDA or whether it's ADD.
Alright, so you don't know whether it's attention deficit disorder or
Yes.
PDA. You don't know. She's not been assessed for that.
Not yet, no.
Okay, because somebody's just asked what about PDA.
Yeah,
so it may be the case that she may have PDA as well. So I'm sure there's lots of people watching this.
Asking what PDA is. What PDA stands for?
It's pathological demand avoidance syndrome.
Well, what entails basically the demanding, you mean?
Yeah, so like demands and things like that. But there's people watching this now, so they can send you information. There's a very good charity society called the PDA Society. They will send you lots of information as well. So obviously, as you know, when somebody's got a diagnosis of autism, they can have other comorbid conditions. So they can have things like OCD, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, all these other conditions. So I'm not saying that your daughter's got any of these conditions. It's just been brought up on the chat box here. Kerry's just said, I'll just bring this comment up. Kerry's just said, what about PDA? We've got some other comments coming as well, which I'll share on screen. Tracy said lithium is used for treatment of bipolar. We've got some more questions coming in as well. We've got,
as well.
yeah, we've got Wendy. She says, mum and daughter are that close. How can that help someone with autism who likes familiarity and routine?
Yeah.
Kerry also says, please don't get upset, Lorna. We're all fighting for you, and we are going through the same. So there's lots of questions and lots of well, not lots of questions, rather lots of comments coming as well. So Lorna, if anybody's watching this now, I'm going to be speaking to the Care Minister next Tuesday on my show, and what would you like me to say to the Care Minister?
It's a man that can change things for everybody on these wards.
I'd like him to get the medication right at the beginning and not having to just be tested on all this medication.
Be tested on all this medication.
Okay, so Lorna was saying, why be tested on all this medication?
Yes.
So
and get it in the first instance.
Sorry, say that again.
To
get it to get them tested in the first instance.
No, put them on the right medication. Is the start to go trying all different ones.
All right, okay. So Lorna's just said, if people couldn't hear that, to put her on the right medication from the start, and not to put her on different medications, basically to get the right treatment from the very start.
Yeah, not being a guinea pig.
And not being a guinea pig.
Yes.
So is that how you feel, Lorna? Do you feel as though you're a guinea pig, being treated with various different types of medication?
I have felt like that in the past, yes, I have.
Yeah, So Lorna, let me just ask you, what was life like for you before you went into this unit? What was life like for you? Did you enjoy doing things throughout the day and things like that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was quite I'm quite a happy person really.
Yes, because I know your mum showed me a photograph of you where you were really smiling and happy, and I think you were wearing it. She showed me you were wearing a red top, or it was a pink top. I'm not sure now, but you look very happy and look very content. Then, do you feel as though that what's happened to you has now changed your life?
Yeah, I do. I do think I have. Yeah.
So what sort of things did you do before you went into this ATU? What sort of hobbies and interests did you have?
I used to love walking.
So you used to go walking? Did you go to
Yeah.
the cinema or play?
Yeah.
What else do you do?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What do you do?
I used to like meeting friends.
Like meeting friends. So did you like socialising? Did you like going to I don't like parties. Did you like going to parties or things like that? If anybody had a birthday party, would you go to them?
I suppose I did really. Yeah.
So school. What did you do at school?
I didn't do very well at school.
Okay. So did you go to a mainstream school or was that a special school?
No, I went to a mainstream school.
Okay. And did you do any exams there?
No.
No. Well, that's fine. That's okay. So as we can see, Mandy, are you still there, Mandy?
I'm still here, yes.
Your daughter's just had a conversation with me, and she's very articulate, and she can communicate quite well and quite effectively, and she can answer questions, so that shows the capacity that she's, able to do these things.
She's been able to do them things before she went in there as well.
No way.
Well, but she still could speak.
Yeah. And do you think that these drugs have actually changed your daughter's, personality?
Yeah.
Definitely. She's not as bubbly as she was and as chatty as she was. She's very quiet. Lots of people have commented, saying, well, you were chatty last time I saw you. You're not chatty anymore. It's as though it's numbed her brain, if you will. So I feel that there's no need or necessity for these drugs. And for the length of time that she's been on them already, and for what, and still no clear indication on their part what it is. It's just so frustrating. Like I mentioned to you earlier about Simon Baron Cohen, who diagnosed you yourself. He needs to be out there more and more to diagnose these people quicker.
Okay, so Simon Baron Cohen, I know Simon quite well. I'll actually get in contact with Simon for you and ask Simon to contact you to drop you an email. So I've lost a bit of track there then. I was going to say something really important as well. It'll probably come back to me in a second. So what I was going to say to Lorna, thank you for, sharing your experience with me and being quite open and, transparent and sharing your story with me tonight. Can I just ask, Lorna, what sort of side effects do you get from these drugs? Does it make you tired? Does it make you more anxious? Or
It makes me more anxious. I'm tired a lot. I get the shakes.
You get the shakes?
Yeah.
So you never had any of that before?
No.
No. So, yeah, I really, really feel for the pair of you, daughter and mother. It's just so wrong, on so many.
It's not politically correct either. I mean, when you go to the doctors and you've got flu, they check you out, they give you, you've got flu, have the flu jab, or take this antibiotics, and you're well again. The fact is that she keeps going back in there. She's been in there 4 or 5 times now with all different diagnoses. This is since she was 17, in and out, in and out, in and out. She actually was admitted when she was 11 with anorexia then. And you're thinking, come on, surely there's something else. And it's only in the past, 2-3 years where there's been more of an understanding of what it is, and she's literally slipped the net. Now there's millions of people around the world with the same issue that's literally slipped the net. I mean, you know, I'm quite happy to be diagnosed and actually go through the process of maybe seeing that I could have too. I mean, end of the day, you know, I mentioned to you earlier, by 2025 there's going to be half of the population with the same condition. So it's an ongoing thing, and it's majority of the people who have these conditions are actually geniuses in disguise.
Oh yeah, I quite agree with you, and that was quite interesting what you just said, Mandy, about the anorexia, because there was some research in America which shows that people who, I'm not saying that all people with anorexia are on the autistic spectrum, but there was a strong evidential link that people who've got anorexia may be, and I'll quote this, maybe, not everybody, may be on the autistic spectrum.
Yes, I agree, and the fact that when she was 13, I mean, she was put forward for early GCSE in history. I mean, you know, she was so obsessed with Henry VIII, it was unbelievable, and it really surprised me that this teacher was going to put her forward. Anyway, from that time onwards, she just declined. She never even finished school. She never did any GCSEs either, because she wasn't able to do so with her anxiousness. She was extremely anxious. She hardly ate again, and she went down the decline slope again, and that's when she was admitted first time at 17. I mean, it's just gone on and on. I mean, 8 years is a long time. It's just took its toll, to be honest.
So I suppose, Lorna, in so many ways, I suppose you really, you know, I suppose, am I using the right words, regret that you actually went in involuntary to this unit?
I don't regret going, because I knew that I was ill. I knew I needed some help.
Yeah.
Because I was really poorly.
Yeah.
But I regret them, you know, them not giving me the right medication. It just messed me up even more.
Yeah. Sorry, I probably used the wrong words there, regret. You know, sometimes I get my words mixed up. So, yeah, it's really difficult because, you know, you went in involuntary and you ended going in involuntary because you actually recognised that you were ill and you were not feeling right. So you recognised that as an individual, and because you did that, do you think that, you know, because you actually did that, you know, it's all gone completely wrong for you? Do you also think, Lorna, as well, that people don't understand your autism?
Well, I don't necessarily believe that I have autism.
So you don't think you have autism?
I don't know, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm a bit wary whether I do think I have it or not.
Would it bother you if you did have autism?
Not really, but I don't know whether I have it or not.
I think that's a stigma. I think it's just a stigma.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who I meet, and I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, and there's a lot of people who I meet to get a diagnosis with autism, and the parents will probably say, you know, this is Johnny or Billy, or this is Jenny or Joan, and she's got autism, and the child or adult says, no, I haven't got it, and that's fine, that's okay, you know. So somebody may say that they're not autistic when they have got the autistic label, and that's fine, that's okay. A lot of people with autism like that. But the thing is with you, Lorna, you've been diagnosed with autism, haven't you?
A long time ago, but then but not by a proper psychiatrist, really.
His opinion.
Right, okay. Well, the pair of you, Lorna and Mandy, is there anything else you'd like to say before we leave the show today?
No, not really, no.
What I'd like to say is that people should have a brain scan on all these wards when they're admitted, just to detect the differentiation in the hippocampus of the brain to determine the outcome. That way then it saves time, effort and money, for not only for the discomfort for the parents, and the turmoil and the upset that you have to go through for the length of time that they're in there, for whatever reason that is. If they had a brain scan, at least they know where they would be at. So that's all I'm saying on that. Because if he'd allowed me to have that brain scan, we wouldn't be sat here today.
So, Mandy and Lorna, let me just come back to you before we go. Lorna, what would you like to do in the future? Would you like to live independent? Would you like your own house? Or would you like to live with Mum for a bit?
I'd like to live independently, I think.
Yeah, so would you like your own place? Would you like a house or a bungalow or a flat?
A flat, I think, to start with.
Yeah. What about pets? Would you have any pets? Cats and dogs?
Yeah.
What's your favourite?
A dog.
A dog. And what kind of dog would you have?
I don't know, to be honest.
You don't know. Would you have would you have a small dog or a big dog?
Small dog.
A small dog.
Yeah.
A little wag dog.
Yeah.
Well, Mandy and Lorna, thank you so much for joining me on the show tonight. I'm sorry to hear what you're going through and what you're still going through. We just have to ask people to sign the petition, to sign the Parliament petition. I think I looked not long ago and it's got 1,200 signatures, which is absolutely amazing in the last few hours today. So please, if you're watching this now, do sign the petition. I can't stress that enough. Do sign the petition, because you're not signing the petition for Lorna and Mandy, you're signing it for Bethany, you're signing it for Chris, you're signing it for Lee, you're signing it for so many people out there who are institutionalised, and this needs to stop. It needs to stop now. It really does need to stop now. And I feel so passionate about this, and I'll campaign about this heavily, which I have been doing. And it's just so wrong, because this can be anybody's son, anybody's daughter, anybody's brother, anybody's sister, anybody's niece, anybody's nephew who's actually watching this now. So it needs to stop.
The other thing I wanted to just stress as well, Lorna got a message from a friend from the last hospital that she was in, and they've actually given her a brain scan.
Okay.
So something's definitely shifting.
Yeah, we just bring some messages up here so I can just share them with you before we go. Kerry says not everyone could cope with a brain scan. So that's what Kerry says, and she's quite right there. A lot of people probably with autism probably couldn't maybe sit go in a tunnel and have a brain scan and sit still. So Kerry's probably right there. A lot of people probably can't do that. Some people with autism maybe, others probably not. So let's see what other messages we've got. Marie says, well done for coming on and sharing your story. We've got another message here. Connor says, the poll is still running for this. Please check out our poll in my contacts. Gillian says, PDA, I'm sure your daughter may have PDA. That's a possibility. So that's probably maybe something which you need to look into. Tracy said, nice to meet you, Mandy, and thank you for agreeing to take part in this live chat tonight. We've got Debbie. She says, well said, Lorna, plenty of other support techniques available before resorting to medication. Need health and support treatment and for the behaviour rather than gut reaction to suppress with medication, not getting to the bottom of things, just putting sticky plaster over issues. And let's see what else we've got here. Tracy also says we have to stop locking people away because they have autism. That's 100% right there. So yeah, lots and lots of messages coming in on social media, and just thank you for joining me tonight, and thank you for sharing your story. And if people want to follow you on Twitter, what's your Twitter handle again, Mandy?
It's Mandy_Lou_Paul PAUL.
Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, thanks for sharing that. So Mandy and Lorna, thank you for coming on the show, Lorna. And talking to me. It's been a pleasure to have you on to talk, and you're very articulate, you're a very bright young lady, very intelligent, sharing your story. So thank you for coming on, Lorna, and also thank you to you, Mandy, as well, for, you know, being what every mother should be, you know, fighting for your daughter. So, you know, thank you for both coming on. So until next week on Monday, next Monday, I'll be joined by Andrew Vassy, who'll be talking about dyslexia. And on Tuesday afternoon at 4:30, do join me for my show. I'll be talking to the Minister of State, that's Caroline Dinenage, next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Until then, have a great evening wherever you are. And don't forget, do share this video on social media so people can listen to Lorna's and Mandy's story. And don't forget, before we go, please make sure you sign the petition. Sign that petition, share it wherever you can.
Don't you worry, I will.
Thank you. On Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you can. Share, share, share. Because if we don't get this debated in Parliament, we don't want to still be in the Dark Ages, because that's what we are. We're in the Dark Ages still.
Well, actually, I think it is it?
Yeah, we still, you know, in the Victorian times where we still institutionalising people, so that needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. Yeah. So thank you both for joining me on the show, and have a rest, you know, have a rest now, and have an enjoyable evening. Go put your feet up and watch the tally.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.